Because of the lack of wind in the first part of our Atlantic crossing, we decided to make a stop in the Cape Verde Islands.
Chef is happy.
Finally, it took us 5.5 days from Tenerife to the Cape Verde. We were expecting a lot of motoring because there was absolutely no wind forecasted in certain areas. But it was unbelievable. The boat sailed pretty good. Not extremely fast, of course, but pretty good with very, very light winds. It was exciting to come in Mindelo during the night because there are all kinds of wrecks and abandoned ships in that bay. Bettina was with her young, good eyes in the front of the boat and she gave me directions and we had a perfect spot for anchoring.
So we anchored here tonight, just in front of our previous boat. Well, the same one at least. And behind that there's Vitia and Speckaint is there as well.
Yes, yeah.
We had so many questions and you always answered them.
Oh,
so
thank
really
you
grateful.
so much.
So thanks so much.
Scotch whiskey, Mark.
Whoa!
Whoa.
You can never hurt, especially when it's so cold.
Thank you very much.
You're very welcome.
Yeah. And are you happy with the boat?
Yeah, we're happy with the boat.
Yeah, it's a really nice boat.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's Marika! That's a secret!
Yeah, just don't put it on the video then, darling.
You got here late tonight, no?
Yeah.
Like
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock, something
Yeah,
like that.
we realized that we didn't load up the avionics.
Nee, we wilden nu naar het land gaan, maar we dachten we kijken even. Of jullie al wakker zijn.
Hey, you made it!
It was nice to see the two boats together, our old boat, the Lagoon 52S, and the new boat, the Outremer 55. And it was nice to see them moored so close together. And the people on the boat, they actually gave us a bottle of whiskey because they were very grateful for Mark answering all their questions about the boat. So that was really nice. Thank you very much. So that it's heavy, so that it's not so fast anymore. So.
Leuk, mijn ogen uit. Ja, geweldig.
Feest hier.
Ja.
Le ponton est à bâbord de la marina sous la bouillie. Tu restes les nids en vent, y compris le derrière au ponton.
When we arrived in Mindelo in the morning, Mark was watching Facebook and then he saw that my cousin Anita just landed on Cape Verde too, on Mindelo. So it was really nice. We had a nice afternoon together and a nice dinner. The reason for our short stay in Cape Verde was actually that they forecasted a lot of wind. Because Mindelo is located in between two islands, there is a tunnel effect. In the forecast they said for Mindelo 50 knots. So we decided to leave the Cape Verde just before the strong winds were coming.
So we're on our way for part 2 of the Atlantic crossing.
We didn't like to leave alone because it's a lot of fun to go in the Gliwo together with the other boats. Yeah, it gives you fun to see how the other boats are doing, what strategies they are choosing. But on the other hand, we know the reasons why the other boats stayed a little bit longer, and that was pretty logical. And for us it was good to go because our son, he was planning to go to Barbados in 14 days from now, so we wanted to be in time there and with a clean boat and relaxed when he comes on board. When we were leaving Mindelo, we were really tired. Mark and I had to work on the black water tanks in the morning, and it was a really shitty job. It took us a couple of hours to clean all the mess. And Tina, actually, she went out for the whole night. She didn't sleep. We decided to let the boat flow, at least for the first day, 1 or 2 days. And we put 2 reefs in the main and a self-tacking jib on it, and we just left. And even with so little sail, the boat goes perfect. When we can, we always follow the Greatcircle course. Of course, the closer you are to the equator, the less difference there is between the Greatcircle course and the rump line, but it is still the shortest route.
So settings, navigation, method. Greatcircle, of course. I can show you the difference between the Greatcircle line to Barbados, or what Marijke has on her phone. That's the rump line, or?
Dat is niet te doen.
We stay close to the red line, huh? Yeah, we change to wing on wing, butterfly, goose wing, whatever. We're doing 9.4 knots, on average 25 knots of wind, I guess.
So the first 2 days with a small sail area, we did actually 200 miles per day in a very relaxed way. Actually, there were pretty impressive waves the first couple of days, but always when we try to catch them on the camera, it's not even close to what we experience ourselves. But the boat handles them very well, coming from the back.
First we tried it with the autopilot on wind angle, but the waves are 3.5 meters in the meantime, and we couldn't find the right settings on the autopilot, it kept changing a little bit too much, and so we decided to put it on heading mode and changed the autopilot to the backup autopilot, the Raymarine, which only has a heading mode.
So much better.
Yeah, so the BNG still works. You can use all the other components, but you see here that no autopilot computer it says, but it means no BNG autopilot computer.
I'm so happy that we installed an extra autopilot on this boat. We are practically 100% of the time on autopilot during a crossing. You don't want an autopilot failure. It gives such a good feeling that there's always a spare one. We caught up with some sleep, all of us, and after 2 days we felt strong enough to consider to raise the spinnaker. And even the wind was a little bit less in the morning, so then we had a chance to do it relaxed. Mark always has to wear all these safety lines because I ask him, and then he is very irritated and angry at me when he gets caught in between all the lines, and he really doesn't like that. But luckily the bow of the Outremer is so wide that the chances that you fall in are extremely small.
Want het kan sowieso niet open, want de guy loopt eroverheen. Dus ik kon de fender ook niet terugleggen. We had 2 days of rest. And now Captain thought it was time to put on the speed. So Barbados straight ahead now. 1627 miles to go like this. When we started putting it on, it was 19, 20 knots of wind. In the meantime, we've seen 26, but it still seems pretty stable. The apparent wind speed is between 10, 11, and we saw 15 once. It should be okay. This is a smaller spinnaker. The only thing that we're doing not according to the book, the cover your ass book, is that we have 2 reefs in the main instead of a full main. We use the halyard of the Cozero, the double halyard, because it's lower on the mast, and we think that should be a better division of the forces on the mast. But well, no one is going to give you confirmation that this is the right way to do.
It accelerates very fast, both on the waves and from wind gusts. And the difference between this boat and our last boat is that it doesn't stop so quickly in the next wave. It just goes over it. It is like the bows are cutting through the water and the acceleration just continues. You can easily see it on the images Mark is making, that the bows stay above the water. Yeah, the boat is sort of flying over the water. It's really beautiful.
You see the spike, almost 20 knots. On average, seems to be clearly over 10 knots.
So the first day that we had the spinnaker up, we had 2 reefs in the mainsail too. But actually you can immediately feel that the mainsail is only a burden and it doesn't give a lot of speed. It's constantly jibing. We were afraid also of a lot of chafing. After a while, the spinnaker turned 4 times around the forestay and the jib. So it was a bit of a hassle to get that loose. After that, we reefed the boat back with another reef, but we didn't see the point of that. And then decided to get rid of the mainsail completely. And from that moment on, it was so relaxed. We could sail exactly the Greatcircle course. We actually put the spinnaker on 2 guys only and no sheets. Actually, we could sail from 155 degrees left to 155 degrees right without doing anything. The sail was just playing in the front. And in the meantime, I heard that costs you about half a knot when the spinnaker is not really fixed, but when it has room to play. But for us, it was perfect. We were not racing, everybody was just doing a nice crossing. It is nice to go fast, but we not necessarily need to be the first one.
Kijk zo even van boven, neem wel ja.
Ja, ga ik doen.
We actually had some shaving on the mainsail because of the reef that was inside the lazy bag, and we put some tape on the sail to try and prevent that.
This is since we started with the spinnaker. Our average speed before was 8.5 over the first 2 days. And in VMG it's even more because we're going straight to our target now, where we were a little bit off before.
We are on Outremer 55, and you?
Our boats of the same length as our boat sometimes call us on the VHF because they don't understand why the speed difference is so big. The squalls that we had were from 25 to 40 knots, and it was no problem for the sail at all. The boat accelerates, so the apparent wind was almost never above 20 knots. Mostly it was between 10 and 15 knots. So with only the spinnaker, above 18 knots, the speed is incredible with this boat. Even the small 140 square meters heavy weather spinnaker gives us a good speed then. And we were actually flying through the field. We were like a train over the Greatcircle course. In the end, we were not alone on the ocean. We were passing a lot of Gliwo boats on our trip that went straight from Tenerife to Barbados. And we were also passing a lot of ARC boats. So the ocean was not empty at all. So we started to catch up with some Gliwo boats who went straight from Tenerife to Barbados and didn't stop on the Cape Verdes. And when we pass Impossible on the ocean, and it's so funny that you are so close to each other after so many days at sea. But then at least you could see how big the waves are. And so Mark made an effort to film that. And then you can see how high the waves were on the ocean.
it was a smart decision of the captain to get the speed down, as we had went up to 32 knots. That wasn't even the worst, the waves were really the worst. We bounced left and right beginning of the night, and now it's pretty quiet in the meantime again. When it gets light we can put the speed back.
The first night we even took the spinnaker down, and then we were extremely happy because it started to blow 32 knots. And at that moment we didn't know yet that the spinnaker could easily handle that. But we learned that later during the trip.
Even though the radar still says that it's going to pass us on port, it seems that our heading is changed automatically. We were on 270 before and now we're at 300. Increases a little bit and it says that the third system is going over us, approaching us with 26 knots, 27. The true wind direction has changed from 70 to 111. Komt er wel wind, hè?
Ja. Mark was even op vissenjacht. Stinkend beesten.
I was extremely happy with the help that Tina and Mark gave me because I really need my sleep. They actually shared the night watches, the two of them. Tina was sitting until 3 o'clock and Mark did the rest of the night. Look how this boat glides over the water. It feels actually the same as it looks. Very relaxed.
Happy with the sail setup?
Yeah, I think it's completely fine like this.
So we're leaving it home when it's cold, alright?
Depends on how
big it is.
how big the squall is. Yeah.
In the next episode, the sail setup will be a lot more boring than in this one because the rest of the crossing will be with only the spinnaker.